Hi, folks. This is Jen Espinosa-Goswami coming to you live from my bedroom in my office. You can see the elephants in the room behind me, so thank you for joining me live today. I wanted to hop on really quick because, as you can see, I just finished my workout and I feel great. But what I'm noticing with a lot of clients that I connect with is they don't really understand the difference between fat loss and weight loss. And I know I struggled with this. I had never even heard of fat loss when I started my weight loss journey. So I wanted to just pop on really quick and share some really quick tips about how you know the difference, and even more importantly, which one is right for you, because everyone is different and everyone requires different types of support for their health goals. So let's talk about the old model of weight loss. What is weight loss? You burn more calories than you eat, you restrict your eating, you count your calories, you count your carbs, you track everything you're doing, whether that's in a food journal or on an online app. And most of it focuses on you know, eating more colors, eating more food groups, but more specifically focusing on calories. And some programs are more intense about how many calories you personally need. I know there are a lot of online calculators out there about, based on your height, based on your weight, your exercise level, or your fitness level, they'll indicate to you what your perfect calorie range is. Now, that model is rather flawed because for the majority of us, it's kind of like the old BMI calculators where they were based on a prediction from a statistician who worked for an insurance company, and they needed to come up with some sort of framework in order to understand how long they would have to pay out insurance premiums for folks who were with their company. So similar to the BMI model, the whole weight loss model with you burn what you eat, you restrict your calories, is kind of flawed because, for one, we have individual body differences just from person to person. And yes, that has to do with activity level, but one thing which it does not take into consideration is the level of muscle you have in your body. I'm going to repeat that. The usual weight loss programs don't really take into account your current muscle mass. I mean, all of us have a different amount of muscle in our bodies. As women, we naturally carry more fat on our bodies, and that has to do with childbearing. It has to do with hormones. It has to do with our monthly cycles, all of those sorts of things. So women naturally carry 10 to 15% more body fat than men do. So some of these weight loss programs focused a lot on, here's what an average man should have for calories, here's what an average woman should have for calories. And while they sometimes adjust for your particular energy level and how fit you are, they don't take into account your muscle mass. Now, there are other things that could be affecting your weight loss results if you have some hormonal changes in your body going on right now, if you're going through menopause, if you have endocrine issues, those things can certainly impact what calories you need in terms of just maintaining your weight. And that's where a lot of programs fail as well. When they're looking at weight loss, they're looking at, okay, this is what you would need for a person of your height, your age, your energy level. This is what you would need in terms of minimum calories to maintain. And then they usually cut down, 200 calories here, 300 calories there as your recommended target. This is kind of a shot in the dark. And if you go too low in your calories, your body can actually jump into starvation mode and say, I'm not going to lose any weight. I'm going to hold on to everything I have because you're starving me. And I feel hungry and I'm not satisfied. So I'm going to start taking and conserving whatever it is you do give me. So those models are rather a shot in the dark, and they don't necessarily take into account your individual body type, right? It may be surprising. You may think, well, I don't have a lot of muscle in my body. I'm a woman. I'm overweight. I don't really have a lot of muscle. You may be surprised because you can still have muscle. Even if you have like a layer of pudge, you can still have muscle underneath that pudge. You can be very muscular and still have flab on your body, especially as a woman. And some women actually are the body type where their body holds onto muscle and builds muscle even through everyday activities. I have some friends who have really great muscle definition, especially in their arms, just from lifting their babies, because it's lifting that baby carrier plus baby is what, like 35, 40 pounds, depending on how big your baby is. So you can certainly build a lot of muscle throughout the course of your day. If you're a person who is constantly on your feet, your core muscles might be stronger. So even if you can't see the muscles in your body, you probably have more muscle than you give yourself credit for. So the more muscle you have, the more likely you're going to be a heavier size. That's why BMI doesn't does not tell you the full picture. So that's kind of the traditional weight loss model, right? You track everything you eat, you try to restrict calories or restrict carbs or restrict something, and then burn more than you tend to eat. And that doesn't take into account a lot of things which are very specific to individuals. Now, why I enjoy and embrace and help my clients with a fat loss model is for a variety of reasons. First of all, when I was 100 pounds overweight, and when I lost the weight, where the weight was dropping from my body was not necessarily, where I envisioned it would come off. And as the weight was coming off, I had other things going on like skin and things that made my body shape less beautiful than I imagined it would when I dropped the flab. So especially if you're significantly overweight, and by that I mean overweight is technically 30 pounds or less over your recommended body weight. Obese is 30 plus pounds over. So whether you're overweight, obese, and you want to reshape your body, you won't do it through a traditional weight loss model, because our bodies don't lose weight from the places we expect them to. And if you're not supporting your body's transformation through muscle building, then you're definitely not going to be firm and perky, and you might have some loose other things like skin as you lose the weight, especially if you have a lot of weight to lose. So that's reason number one. A lot of the reasons why you want to improve your health and drop weight, especially if it's 50 plus pounds, is to look a certain way, to fit in your clothing a certain way, to feel confident wearing clothing that you've never worn before. And I hate to break it to you, but they're doing a great job with having plus size clothing available. But even within different brands and plus size clothing, they don't all fit us the same way, right? And a person who has always been a certain weight, like if you've always been 150 pounds and never a pound above that, your body shape will be different than a person who used to be 250 pounds, dropped 100 pounds, and is now 150. The clothing will fit you differently. You might have to wear some more undergarments and things like that. That's why weight loss is not helpful for you. Yes, you will drop the pounds. Yes, you will drop some water weight. Yes, you will be lighter, but you will not necessarily build that shape that you dream of when you're thinking of reaching your ideal body size. Another reason is if you're over a certain age. If you're over the age of 35, for example, and you are focusing on weight loss, that is not doing you a disservice, really, because fat loss focuses more on increasing your muscle mass so that you can burn the fat on your body. As you're getting older, our muscle mass just tends to drop. That's just a natural part of the aging process. And I have seen clients of mine in their 60s and 70s who start a very basic, resistance band kind of training technique, and they feel great. So especially if you have aches and pains, or you've never really done any serious weightlifting in your life, then that will create so much strength, so much support for other things that might be going on in your body, whether you have a knee injury, a back injury, those sorts of things. If you build your core strength and your overall fitness level in terms of your muscles, then you will support other systems in your body, have less aches and pains, and stop dropping so much bone mass. A lot of us, depending on our diets as well, if you had a really poor diet, then you're probably not going to have strong bones. But if you start lifting weights, that actually helps you with your bones and your bone density. It helps you with your muscle development. It prevents you from falling, as falling is a very real concern for a lot of elderly folks. It helps support your traditional daily activities, getting on and off the toilet. I mean, just being honest out here. So fat loss is really important, especially for women over the age of 35. So those are some reasons why weight loss, the traditional model, is not sufficient and not helpful for the majority of people, at least people I've come across in my health coaching business, and why I personally choose a fat loss program. Now, you're probably like, well, what is a fat loss program, right? How is it really different? Well, I've mentioned several times the importance of muscle building. So as you can imagine, fat loss is all about, are you lifting something? I did a workout this morning that was basically compound exercises with weights. And I have a very basic adjustable dumbbell set. I think my husband bought it for $70 about 20 years ago or something crazy like that. And I took over this dumbbell set, and I've been using it consistently for a long time, and it helps me. And I change the weights just depending on where I'm at and how much I want to challenge myself. So it doesn't take a lot of money, but what I do is a variety of different exercises. So compound exercises means I might be working my legs and my arms at the same time. This confuses your body and it challenges your body, and it also requires you to maintain core stability. That's really important for me as I had back surgery about 10 years ago. So my core needs to be really tight, really strong. Even if I don't look like I have washboard abs, I have really strong core strength because I'm doing those types of exercises. Planks are really good for your core strength. So I lift weights all the time, whether it's a resistance band, ankle weights that I just put on my ankles when I'm walking. I'll lift something heavy like a dumbbell, a kettlebell, a medicine ball, and they don't have to be terribly heavy. You can start off with 2 pounds, 3 pounds. My ankle weights, I think, are 2.5 pounds at the most per side. And my dumbbells, I think the highest I go for my arms, at least, because I'm just trying to work on my arms, is maybe 20 pounds. Yeah, with the bar in there and everything, it's probably about 20 pounds, maybe 15 to 20 pounds. So you don't have to use a lot of weight, especially if you're just getting started, to reap the benefits of building your muscle. How does that help you with fat loss? Okay, so you build your muscle. How is that helping you lose fat? The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn. So rather than restricting your calories or punishing yourself with a cardio session for the calories you did eat, you build your muscles, which tend to burn through calories more frequently. So as a consequence, you can eat the same amounts of foods and burn more of them while you sleep. This has been proven. And when you lift weights, you tend to have what's called an afterburn effect. If you lift them fast enough, heavy enough, challenging enough for your particular fitness level, then it takes your muscles 24 to 48 hours to repair themselves. So, while you're going about the course of your normal day, while you're sleeping until the next morning, that's why you feel sore the next morning. Your body's rebuilding. Your body's repairing the damage that happened from that lifting session. So that's why it's using those calories to burn fat. How cool is that? Now, of course, it's not just all about your exercise. It's mostly about your food as well. So when I work with clients, I embrace a macro-based plan. It's nothing to do with calories. You don't have to count anything. Macros are the basic building blocks of all food. So protein, fat, and carbs. You've heard of all of those. Probably they've been isolated throughout the years and the decades. Fat was big in one decade. Protein was big in another decade. Carbs have always been there and have been demonized off and on. But when you incorporate all three of those elements every time you eat, then that is basically what fat loss looks like, and using macros for fat loss. People get more specific with it. We don't need to delve into that because that's more advanced techniques. Like you can choose your percentages of protein versus fat versus carbs, all that sort of thing. Really getting started with understanding whether it's a protein, fat, or carb when you sit down to eat is the most important thing. If you'd like some help with determining this for yourself, I do have a free download that will help you understand what that looks like and will help you isolate different macro groups for your breakfast, because you start with a healthy meal. So I'll pop that link down below here. We've talked a little bit about why traditional weight loss models are done, right? They're not very helpful for you. They're restrictive. They don't necessarily take into account your individual body differences, your energy level, how much muscle you naturally carry on your body. And even if you can't see the muscle on your body, you probably have more than you give yourself credit for. And weight loss doesn't help you with the distribution of mass on your body, right? So if you're like, oh, I just want to get rid of my tummy, weight loss is not going to help you with that. You will just lose weight from whatever areas of your body you gained the weight on first. So if your tummy is your problem area, you may not lose the weight from your tummy first. You might lose it from your thighs first, or your chest, or, you can't really choose how that looks. But if you're training for muscle development at the same time, you have more ability to pump up different parts of your body, to make them perkier, to make them firmer, to make them fit into your clothes better, so you don't have loose things hanging, loose skin or anything like that. Those are real concerns when you lose a lot of weight. I still have parts of my body that haven't completely firmed up, even though I do a muscle training routine at least 3 times a week and have consistently done so for a long time. Part of that has to do with my training. I can get more intense in my training, and I choose not to. But you can certainly get there, but the best way to get there is through a fat loss regime instead of weight loss. And then we also talked about, well, how do you know what a fat loss routine is? You build your muscles through resistance training. So instead of doing 60 minutes of walking or 60 minutes of jogging, biking, swimming, whatever, those are cardio-based types of training. Instead, you lift something heavy. Can you do dumbbells? Can you do resistance bands? By the way, those are $10 at Target. I'm sure you can afford $10 for resistance bands. And there are a plethora of different exercise videos on YouTube, graphics on Pinterest and Instagram that can walk you through basic exercises and are a good start for anyone. And then you also have to pay attention to macros, like how much protein are you eating? How many carbs are you eating? How much fat are you eating in a day? And combining those three things for a balanced and healthy meal plan. By the way, I mentioned that I do have a free download to help you for macros for breakfast. If you are at a point where you're like, I just want someone to tell me what to do, I totally understand you and I can help you out with that. I do have a la carte custom meal plans on my website. If that's something you're interested in doing, or you'd like to connect with me and learn more about what that means and how you can use it for your own benefit, then comment below this video and I'm happy to share that link with you. For 1 week's worth of meals, that's including breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, it's only $14. I do have some standard meals that I have on my website. There's one if you don't have any dietary restrictions. There's a gluten-free one. There's a vegetarian one. If you have multiple restrictions in your current life right now, I do create a custom meal plan where we get down on a phone call and we talk about your particular restrictions, your particular budget, and I will create a week's worth of meals for you. That would be $25. So it's very cost effective. I basically put the recipes together for you, send it to you, you click and you buy the ingredients and you're ready to go. All easy to do. I don't like to clean, so it's not going to be a lot of really fancy, dancy, chef-inspired kinds of things. I don't do that, and I'm guessing you probably don't do that either. No protein powders, nothing like that. It's all real food. And I also provide monthly meal support if that's something that you're looking to do. That's at a $50 level. So, and I do need to have a conversation with you in order to make that work for you. Sure, I could send you just anything, but I want it to work for you. So I love to have a conversation with you about what that might look like for you. In the meanwhile, comment below this video if you have any questions about fat loss versus weight loss, and pop your comment. Which one have you traditionally done throughout your life? Have you always done a weight loss model, or have you tried doing fat loss? Let me know what your experiences are, because my personal belief and experience has been that fat loss is way, way, way better than weight loss. That's what I walk my clients through. That's what works well for me. That's how I've maintained my weight loss for 18 years. And it's really awesome. But there's a learning curve with everything. So I'd love to hear your experiences if you've tried fat loss or only focused on weight loss. And let's connect in the meanwhile and see how I can support you in your best health before we get to the busy holiday season. This is Jen Espinosa-Goswami coming to you all sweaty from my workout here in my bedroom. Make sure to say hi to me and comment on this video about your experiences with fat loss versus weight loss. And have yourself a wonderful Friday. Bye-bye.